What's up, everybody, and welcome to Wildcard Sports. In today's video, we are going to go over the MLB Champion Tiers. We are now halfway in the MLB season. The All-Star Game is here, and I want to let you guys know who has the best chance to win the World Series as of now. Of course, things will change as the second half of the season goes on, but I'm going to show you the tiers based on the MLB blueprint right here. A lot of stats. But if you hit a lot of these stats, you are going to win the World Series based off history. So we'll go over it really quick here. There's a key at the bottom to help you guys what everything means. But basically, you got to hit 7 of 7 categories right here to have the best chance to win the World Series. And there are teams hitting 7 of 7 as of now at the halfway mark. So we're going to look at that in the MLB tiers right here. I'll show you guys in a second. The standings as of now right here, Blue Jays making a comeback. They are now in first place. They've been in first place for a little bit now. Yankees dropping just a tad. And then we got the Phillies in first place, but the Phillies aren't hitting those stats we've talked about in the MLB Champion Blueprint. Cubs are playing amazing, but a team you got to keep an eye on, the Brewers. They are making their way up the rankings. They're only a game back of first place in the NL Central. Dodgers, of course, first place. Not a shock there. We expected that. The Giants, my San Francisco Giants, have been dropping. They just lost the last 2 to the Dodgers. So, with that being said, appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget to like the video. Subscribe if you're new. Here we go. We're going to look at the tiers right now. We're going to start with Tier 4. Teams that are not hitting any of these categories, or maybe 1, maybe 2 categories here in the MLB Blueprint. And I'll show you guys right here. And these are the Phillies, Mariners, Giants, Padres, Reds, Twins, and Angels. If you don't see your team up there, they're in the D category. That's the rest of the teams. That means they're not even really fighting for a playoff spot right now. Sure, that can change second half of the season, or they're like 4, 5, 6 games and more back from a wild card spot. So a lot of people are going to be shocked seeing the Phillies in the no chance Tier 4 category, even though they're in first place right now. But the Phillies are just not playing good on the field. The stats-wise, they're not hitting the categories we need. We'll go back to the blueprint really quick. Feel free to pause the video, look at it, because I'm going to be going back and forth kind of fast, so you might not have a lot of time to look at it. Pause it, screenshot it, whatever. But if you look at it, the Phillies are only hitting a couple categories here. We need them to be hitting at least 4 or 5 more categories to have a good chance, but they're not. And when we go back to the tiers, I'm going to give them no chance. I'm not saying if they get into the playoffs, they're not going to win a single series or anything like that. But to win it all, no chance for the Phillies. So don't waste your money on the Phillies right now if you're planning on placing a futures bet on the MLB champion. Moving on to Tier 3. These are teams that have a small chance, a slight chance. And we're going to look at it right now. The Houston Astros, the Mets, the Rays, Cardinals, and the Rangers. Yes, the Rangers were in the no chance category. They moved up. Cardinals have been hanging around that Tier 3, Tier 2 category. They're a sneaky team. And the Astros have just been climbing up the rankings as of late. They were in the no chance category, but they moved their way up, and they're kind of moving their way up as the season goes on. So it should be interesting to see what the Astros are doing in the second half of the season. Mets are in there. Mets, if I had to choose between the Phillies and Mets in that division, I'll go Mets right now. For sure. Mets are a half game back. I believe we got to look at the standings right here in the NL East. Yeah, Mets half game back of the Phillies, so that's going to be an interesting race second half of the season. Don't got to worry about the Marlins or Braves. It's kind of a shocker to see the Braves that low with the squad they have. So back to the tiers, Rays, Cardinals. So those are teams with small chances. In reality, I don't think they have a chance to win the World Series. It's going to be very tough for them. But we do like our Tier 2 teams. So here are the Tier 2 teams for the MLB Champion Tiers. Dodgers, Blue Jays, Tigers, and Red Sox. Yes, the Dodgers are in Tier 2. I know a lot of people are going to be like, Dodgers are a Tier 1 team. Yes, if you look at their roster, of course, they're like an all-star team. They're a Tier 1 team. But as long as they're not hitting all the stats, they're going to be Tier 2. They're not hitting 7 of 7. They're hitting 6 of 7. So that is great. So Dodgers do have an amazing chance to win the World Series. That's why they're, a good chance category. They're at the top of the odds to win the World Series. I'll pull that up right here so you guys can see. plus 220 for the Dodgers to win it all. And then the next team after that, plus 700, saying the Tigers. And I really like the Yankees this year too. I do like the Tigers as well. But a team they're not really talking about, and I'll get to that in a second. Let's go back to the tiers. And by the way, before I mention tier 1, the Blue Jays have been on a tear, man. They were literally in my no chance, and every time I make a video, I feel like the Blue Jays are making their way up higher and higher. So good for them. I'm excited to see what they could do in the second half of the season. All right, here we go. Tier 1 teams as of now. We got the Yankees, Cubs, and yes, the Milwaukee Brewers. Speaking of teams I did not expect to be there in tier 1, if in all reality, I'm not going to say the Brewers are going to win it all because they did this last year. I'm pretty sure they hit 7 of 7 categories last year, and I did spend some money on them to win it all just in case because the odds were amazing and you could make a lot of money if they did win it. But they are hitting all the categories. They were like a no-chance team earlier on in the season. They climbed all the way up the rankings to tier 1, and they are there now with the Cubs and the Yankees. We still haven't seen the Dodgers in tier 1 this season, believe it or not, and that's because of their pitching, of course. Like, they have terrible pitching. They got a lot of pitching injuries, so we got to keep an eye on that in the second half of the season. The Tigers were in tier 1 for a long time, so they finally dropped down to tier 2, so we'll keep an eye on the Tigers second half of the season. I do have a little bit of money on the Tigers to win it all, but I got money all around these teams in tier 1, tier 2, so you can make a profit. Back to the odds. If you were to bet money on the Brewers to win it all, let's just say you bet $10, you'd win $280. I'm not saying do it. I wouldn't waste my money on the Brewers now, but I do really like the Cubs plus 1,200. $10 wins you 120. So I love the Cubs. I do like the Yankees. I just don't want to see another Dodgers World Series victory. That's just me being a hater, but they are leading the odds, but don't trust the odds. I mean, go by the tiers. I like the Yankees still. Don't sleep on the Yankees for the second half of the season. I mean, I know people aren't sleeping on them, but they have been, dropping, and then Toronto's taking the next step forward, getting first place. So that's going to be an interesting race, but I do still love the Cubs, and I love the Yankees. I'm sure the Dodgers will eventually jump up to tier 1. It won't be a shocker there. So have some money on the Dodgers, just in case. They could easily repeat. I love Shohei Ohtani. That's the only player I really, really like on their team. But, yeah, keep an eye on the Dodgers. My sleeper team as of now has to be the Toronto Blue Jays. I love what they're doing. They're just climbing the ranks. So keep an eye on the Blue Jays. And it should be a very interesting second half of the season. I'll keep you guys updated every 2 weeks. I'm going to be dropping an MLB tiers video. So this really helps you determine who's going to win it all. If you're filling out a bracket when the playoffs start, if you're putting futures bets down, if you're bragging with your friends, this blueprint really helps. The blueprint right here really, really helps to determine who's going to win it all. So with that being said, I appreciate you guys watching, and stay tuned for the next video. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.